So we have quite a bit to talk about with the Black Ops 7 reveal a few days ago. That was basically a flop, to say it shortly and succinctly as possible. I think I'm going to talk about a few different things in this video, but I think it'll be probably a little bit more candid. So in case I curse, probably not going to edit that out. But overall, I think they definitely missed the mark. It was not the year to miss the mark on that. Obviously, we still have COD next in about a month and a half. We have tons of other stuff, the beta, which people actually get hands-on testing, and a lot of things will change between now and then. But one thing that won't change is Battlefield coming out this year is going to be a good game. Regardless if you're a Battlefield fan or not, or whatever, Battlefield will be a good first-person shooter in the genre of first-person shooters. I don't think it's directly a head-to-head with Call of Duty because one's geared towards like big maps, big explosions, destruction, vehicles, teamwork, versus COD is more like 6v6, small map, fast pace, solo play. You know, it's like they kind of butt heads on what they're trying to accomplish. So they're pretty different games. So a lot of times people really like Battlefield, and there's a lot of people who really like Call of Duty, and then there's like people who overlap a little bit, which is perfectly fine. And I think it would have been fine if they flopped on any other year, but the fact that Battlefield's coming in so hot and it seems like they've generated a lot of hype around their game, that's a W for Battlefield. Maybe it'll have some effects on COD later on. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it is good for Battlefield to be successful. I think it will be successful and it'll have a ton of players. That being said, one thing that a lot of people get mixed up when we go to these events early is just the confusion, because there's so much going on and people make like narratives in their own head. One, nobody at the events gets paid. Obviously, you could say, oh, you get flown out there. I drove my own car over there. I don't get reimbursed for gas. Like, bro, what are we talking about? Cool, I stayed in a hotel. Yay. You know, I got to hang out with other creators. Yay. Like, bro, I don't think you understand how much creators make that you think that's enough to sway my opinion on whether or not a game is good or not. That's one. Two is that, basically, we get to play the game, but we don't even get to talk about our hands-on experience. So I couldn't say I liked or disliked what gun I used, or that I used a specific gun, just that I played. And the whole point is just kind of get information out. And then based off that information, I can form opinions based off the information, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to do a little bit more in today's video, because the other one, it was just more like, I got all this information to cover. I want to get it out. And I just want you to guys form your own opinions. Many people did watch the video, form their opinions. Many people did not watch the video and also form their opinions based off that whack-ass trailer that we got that really was a hype vacuum that really was not good. Regardless, I think Battlefield's going to do incredibly well. I think BO7's still going to do well. If you liked BO6, you're going to probably love BO7. I like BO6, particularly at the launch. I think COD sucks at supporting their games post-launch. I mentioned this also in that video. And I also recommended do not pre-order because pre-ordering is kind of stupid in today's day and age. Let's be honest. Why are we pre-ordering? But regardless, that's an aside. So regardless of that, that's generally what that whole video is about. Today, we'll talk a little bit about some of the things I like and dislike. And also some people, you know, want me to post some Battlefield, and we'll talk a little bit about that. They had the Gamescom thing, poorly executed, complete flop, indefensible how bad that was. But when it comes to my opinions on the actual game, not what I played, but based off what we know about the game, we could talk about a bunch of things, right? There's people that would ordinarily, you'd load up COD, and for the past basically forever, I know it's not a blanket statement, it doesn't include everyone, but the vast majority of people do not load up COD first thing, jump on the campaign. A lot of people do, but that's not the first thing. And there's reasons for that, right? You enjoy multiplayer better, you enjoy zombies better. Maybe you don't like that, you know, maybe your friends jump on multiplayer first while you're playing the campaign and then they out-level you, and there's a lot of those types of things, right? There's dynamics. Your progression and your time doesn't feel rewarded for investing in one thing over another. even though the campaign might, in theory, be more fun. So for them, they decided to fix this, and they said, hey, you know what? We're gonna add the linear campaign you guys all love, which is about usually 6 to 8 hours on the average playthrough. Now you can play it with your friends, so you don't feel left out or whatever, which they really haven't done for a long time. And then on top of that, we're going to add this post-game content where you'll be able to, do all this other stuff with your friends. You can get a mastery camo, so you feel like you're rewarded for your time with that. And then on top of that, you're going to be able to, make progress on your guns so that when you do swap over to multiplayer or zombies, or maybe neither of those, and you just bump over to Warzone when the integration happens, your guns can be leveled. So you actually feel rewarded for your time. I think that's a huge W. I don't think, know whether or not people actually like that. Like, it could be complete garbage for all we know. Like, maybe the missions feel exactly like DMZ and unpolished and filled out or whatever. We don't know. But at least the idea, cool. There's at least a semi-decent reason to jump over to campaign and not feel like you're being left behind. Cool. That's a W on that. They didn't even have to do that. No one was asking for that. COD sometimes does that quite a bit. It's like, nobody's asking for that. But hopefully it's a W. I don't know if it will be though. So whatever, not a big deal. Then I talked about in the video a little bit about the changes to create a class. I like that they're improving the attachment so that we'll have more attachment diversity. I think that's good. I think the quality of life to be able to share the loadout, that's kind of objectively good in my opinion. Like, I don't know if that's subjectively. Either way, I think that's a W. I think specialist package returning for the first time in a Treyarch COD, that's kind of elite. Like, they've never done that. The overclocks sound interesting, but like, it's really too soon to know if those are like really all that impactful, or is that just like fluff to say they did something? I don't know. The number of maps sounds pretty good. 16 6v6 maps, but they've been kind of secretive on this part too. How many of them are going to be the tiny little ass maps that we had in BO6 that were the no streaks and like basically just meat grinder maps? How many of them are like that? They should be a little bit more vocal about that. When we had it last year and they talked about multiplayer, maybe we're too soon and I'm just misremembering, but I felt like they said these ones are going to be the little itsy bitsy tiny ones, and then these are going to be like the miniature ones, and then these are like the medium ones. We didn't really have that at this point. Maybe we're too soon, but they should definitely be vocal about those things. The 30 weapons, 2 are melee, whatever, 28 weapons. All right, cool, whatever. Less weapons to level. We're only like 4 of them are going to be meta anyways. Like, what are we tripping on? I don't know. I ideally like more weapons in the game when there's more viable. A lot of returning cool stuff. Cool. But it is what it is, right? So I don't know if there'll be bait and switch on the maps where it sounds too good to be true and then we get all these trash maps. But all the different footage that we saw, you can kind of see that they're mostly 3-lane. They kind of follow the formula that usually makes for good COD maps, even though it's in limited usage that we're able to see in like the B-roll we have in the background. But it's like, all right, I like the theme and aesthetic. I know some people are anti like futuristic and they want like a hardcore military shooter. COD really isn't that, in my opinion. I don't think it's really ever been that, because even when they've leaned in that, it still gets some silly stuff going on. And it's like, okay, this is definitely not a military shooter. It's an arcade shooter with a World War II theme or a modern day theme. And then it's like, well, okay, we're going to get MW4 probably next year. That's going to be a modern COD. Did you just want 3 modern CODs in a row? Like, and people will go, then they're just doing the same thing. It's like, it's kind of like between a rock and a hard place for the devs, if we're being honest, right? Like, it is what it is. I think that the wall bounce could be a little bit sketch for some people. I don't think it's going to be as crazy as people think. It's definitely not wall running, and it's definitely not a jetpack. But I think there will be some use cases, and they'll probably nerf it because people will be upset, or they'll balance it out. They'll figure it out. I think the tactical sprint being gone is good. Like, it would never needed to be in 2019. It didn't need to be in Vanguard. It didn't need to be MW2, MW3, Black Ops 6. It is a terrible mechanic, in my opinion. If you like it, cool. Most of the games eventually do away with this mechanic. Battlefield, they decided to do tactical sprint as well. And guess what? They ended up removing it too. Because players, I just don't think like that. I mean, it's cool, whatever, but it's just whatever. I don't like that they added the strafe mounting. This is the problem with, I think, the sensationalized dislike of the game, I guess. It's really popular to hate COD. They do, you know, dig their own grave at times. But right now, people aren't actually really engaging with the content. I'm sure we'll have tons of comments on this video like, game's trash. Like, what's trash? It's trash. Okay, bro. I wish I could agree with you or disagree with you, because if you come out and say strafe mounting is trash, I'll be like, word, dog. I completely agree. Like, I completely agree. You know, wall jumping's trash. I don't know. Maybe we can agree to disagree. You know, it's like, but nah, it's just trash. The whole thing's trash. It is a funny place to be when it comes to COD. And for COD creators, it just is what it is, right? I don't know. I think that there's a bunch of perks that feel like crutch perks, because like the wall bounce, you can't aim down sight, which is clearly going to be, oh, I mean, at least right now, before we play it, but it clearly feels like it should be the go-to to be able to do that. So you're going to run dexterity that does that as a perk. So then it feels like a crutch perk. Well, if enough players are using that, well, that just tells you that people want to use that. So then it should be that way by default. I don't know, because we haven't had enough people play it. So I can't really tell you if people prefer it where you can't do that or you can. But personally, I wish I could. I'm going to run dexterity. Like, it will be a crutch perk for me on top of probably dead silence and ghost with the suppressor and loopable streaks. Like, you know, it is what it is. So I think there's that part of it. I think the looper being back is really cool. I think SBMM is going to combat that, but we'll get to that in a minute. I like the idea of weapon prestiging. I think it's really cool. It gives something for people to grind towards. The part that really is the red flag for me is that extra attachment I talked about in my video. It's kind of like they kind of teased it up as like an aftermarket part or something like that. But I don't think someone should be encouraged to prestige by an attachment. I think any of those things that they generally refer to as peacocking is where you're kind of showing off to the rest of the lobby that you have this particular thing. Usually that's gonna be in the form of cosmetics, whether it's a skin on a weapon, a camo, a specific operator that you earn because you're like top 10 in ranked or whatever the hell. Like, realistically, that's what that should be for. So I think they need to fix that. And I think that could be a problem with the game, especially one of the most like vocal pieces of feedback that we've had, at least for Warzone, over the past couple years is, why the hell am I leveling all these weapons again? Like, that just creates a problem if, let's say the meta attachment is after you prestige 1. Then it's like, well, now you have to prestige. Bullshit. Like, I don't want to do that. And then if they do the opposite, where they make the attachment not worth using, then it's like, then why is it being gate kept? So it's kind of like they have the problem where they just need to put it as part of the regular rotation. This particular gun, when you reach max level of 40, 50, 55, whatever the hell the level is going to be, you just literally get that attachment and you're not forced to prestige. That'd be a solve for me, but clearly, you know, whatever. I think there's several other issues with the game. I think those are some of the core things. I think when it comes to zombies, if you like BO6, should feel like BO6 mostly. I think they're going to modify some of the systems. They're always hush hush with zombies because it's like the whole community got to keep it secret and tight-lipped, and they're going to have a big presentation in September. We'll find more that we can complain about, I'm sure. But realistically, you know, big map, introducing the largest, you know, round-based map ever, wonder vehicles, the survival maps, the Dead Ops arcade. I mean, that's a ton of content. If you like zombies, like genuinely like zombies, you got tons of stuff to play, right? It's not going to be like you're begging for content, even though you probably will by the time season 1 hits. The real elephant in the room, though, is something that always feels like it's the elephant in the room, and that's Warzone. It's like, what the heck are they going to do with Warzone? The only thing we know about Warzone is got announced after the fact. It didn't get told to us, even though we were there a week before. They could have told us then, and then we would have included it, so we could have bashed it or talked smack about it while we were a person. Nah, they kept that stuff. Oh, we got more information on that next week or something. Like, bruh, you knew that shit was gonna be bad when you don't tell us there, because it says carry forward. The weapons are all gonna combine. All we were told when we were at the event, as part of the presentation, is, hey, carry forward. You get your XP tokens, W. You You get all your gobble gums from zombies. W. Cool. That I mean, dope. But then they're always like, well, you hear your feedback, on basically the skins and the cosmetics getting crazy, that you don't want Beavis and Butthead in your Black Ops 7 after season 1. We hear it. But then it's like, the actions always go, but we're going to still do it in season 1. Sorry, but we make too much money from it. Sorry, our fan base keep buying this shit that you guys are upset about. Like, you can't blame us, swimming in the money over there. And I you really can't blame them for doing it. But it's like, it's so annoying. Like, what? Let's just play Black Ops 7. Not Beavis and Butthead in there. I use that example, but it could easily be Nicki Minaj, Ninja Turtle. I don't even use any of the skins. I'm still using Rose from MW2. I use the same skin all the time. I'm boring that way. Like, I actually do not care about skins. Like, cool, we see their hands. Like, what the fuck? Whatever, right? End of day. The reality is, SBMM, engagement optimized matchmaking, whatever part of it is still going to be a role in the game. That's not going anywhere. I don't envision it going anywhere. That also contributes to them making money. They even spent all this money on putting out these white papers that essentially said, hey, yeah, it works for us. Our players seem to love it, even if you hate it. Like, all right, cool, whatever. I guess I'm not part of the control group that likes it or not. And then the Ricochet stuff. Obviously, they're going to make you enable all that other stuff to make cheating a little bit harder. But as we saw, even with Battlefield, people were cheating in the beta. Probably not at a high rate quite like COD, and hopefully that helps on the COD side, but that's still gonna be a problem. If you currently have a problem with the volume of cheaters that you run into regularly, that's probably not significantly changing. So if that is a deal breaker, then probably do not buy the game. Keep it that easy, right? Hopefully I'll be at COD next. I've been vocal, for the past 3 or 4 years, and I've still been getting invited, so hopefully that don't change. They generally, ain't gonna uninvite me because I say shit in my videos. It's just how it is. It's like, I'm usually honest, even though the comments don't always agree. I think I'm shilling for COD, even though I'm not promoting no bundles. I'm telling you not to spend money. And I talk about all the trash in the game, but I can't help it. I actually like COD too. Oh, I'm sorry. It is what it is, right? It's only a PvP game I play. I play tons of solo games though. Whether it's Kazan earlier this year or we got Expedition 33, an amazing game. There's so much good content out there. If you're a solo player, plays campaign and all that stuff. If you don't and no dopamine from that, unfortunate. One thing I do get asked quite a bit is, where's the Battlefield videos? When are you going to cover Battlefield? What are you going to do for Battlefield? And I mean, if I was a greedy motherfucker, I would be posting Battlefield daily. I'll be gassing that shit up because I know it's hype. For me, I'm not a fan of it. Like, it'd be disingenuous for me to just put that content out just for views and be like, ooh, let me count the money, like the meme. And like, I was successful enough, fortunately for you guys, to support it during COVID and Warzone hype and all that stuff. I'm more than comfortable. Like, YouTube took care of me well, and your viewership helped me out tons. That I'm good. I could post really whatever I want, and if I'm choosing to post COD, that's because that's what I want to post. If I want to post Battlefield, I would post Battlefield. But it's super disingenuous. And the reality is if I'm going to post another game, it's not going to be COD, and it's not going to be Battlefield. Like, it's going to be another game. Maybe Arc Raiders, who knows? And maybe not on this channel. I'll start a brand new channel, start over. It ain't the big a deal. Passion project, fun, whatever you want to call it. End of the day, I enjoy what I do. I wish they gave me more positive stuff to talk about sometimes, not always the negative. Like, there's some interesting shit they do. It's like, bruh, what are we doing? Like, okay, whatever. It is what it is, right? I think it is popular to hate COD. I'm still seeing a lot of people saying they're gassed and hyped too in the little bit of the minutia of the craziness that is our comment section. Don't, try to be civil down there, people. Some people will genuinely like both games, but they can't afford both games. Maybe we'll do a live stream and we help people that want to play both, because that's a problem. Having 2 good games to play, that's like the 2 cakes thing. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's not me. I'm probably going to play some Ghosts of Yote and Solid Snake and all these other games in the meantime. And Borderlands 4. So we'll go ahead and see you there. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button. I don't usually ask for that. If you want to sub. Don't. Appreciate you guys. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.